while some other folks might streaming in later. So this is a AMA session, so I don't have a fixed script of things that I'm going to say. I'll just spend a little time just to give you folks a little bit of my background, and then our kind of general topic today. But I'm open to anything as it's an AMA session. So yeah, let me scroll it a little bit. So I'm Zen, and this QR code leads to my Leland sort of profile. You can find more details about me there. Um, I kind of brand myself as a result-driven leader in the tech industry. I have a pretty diverse background, probably comparing to many other, the majority, I would say, the benchmark or baseline of tech leaders. So I have two major degrees. One is a PhD in computer science. I got that from University of Georgia. That's like 10, 11 years ago. And another is an MBA that I got from University of Washington, the Foster School of Business. And that's more recent, only about 3 years ago. And for a long time, I worked as a software engineer in the industry. So I've worked at Google, Microsoft, and Oracle before as an engineer. But my most recent or current day job is a product manager at Amazon. I've also worked as engineer at Amazon, like when I first joined the company. But about a year at Amazon, I transitioned to a product manager role. Um, yeah, so this is pretty much my very brief 2 cents of my former experience, prior and current experience. And here are some quotes from my prior clients, and you can find those on my profile as well. Yeah, so that is pretty much about me. And for today's session, I just want to kind of open the floor and let you all drive whatever the most pending questions on your mind. So ask me anything about all the following potential topics. If you have questions on the role responsibilities of the three major role in tech, big tech company, the day in life for them, happy to answer those. Core skills. If you have particular questions on role transition, when, why, and how, I'm happy to sort of brainstorm with you on that. Career path, industry trends, anything that you feel puzzling or you would like to get my sort of point of view, happy to share that. Since I have two two major degrees, a PhD and MBA, I'm also happy to talk a little bit about these two, return on investment, so on and so forth. Job searching, resume building, interview tips. If there's any immediate question there, I'm also happy to ask. And if your question doesn't fall in any of these category, but it's on your mind, I'm happy to see what I can provide you. So yeah, that's, oh wow, now we have a lot of folks joined. Cool. So yeah, I think I will just yeah, squeeze whatever content that I bring into here in this 3 minute, and then really open the floor for everyone here, and hear your question and give you whatever I have based on my experience. Anyone want to go first?
Hello, hi, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. Could
Okay.
you
Yes, I
Let
would
me
like
know your
to,
name first.
yeah, my name is Mary, and thank you so much for doing this. I'm interested in the three roles, the difference between the types of roles. And I am coming from a nonprofit background
Mm,
in program management, and I'm thinking to do maybe a career transition, like something that aligns with that as well
mhm,
in tech. Based on my experience by attending events and speaking with other uh, program managers, there's a kind of discrepancy in the information that I'm getting back. Some
mm,
say you need a degree, some say you don't need a degree, some say you need a certificate, some say you don't need a certificate. There's a lot of information there. It's very confusing. So I
mhm,
just wanted to maybe get your view on this, and then maybe ask about what you think your degree, your MBA degree,
mhm,
if it allow you to progress a little bit faster in your role.
mm.
Because that's something that I've faced as well as I have been tapped for a management role. But sometimes certain companies, they're looking for you to have a degree. So I just wanted to know how it personally helped you in your progression. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Mary. So let me tackle your question one by one. I think you already have program management experience. And from your description, it sounds like it's just you have that experience in the nonprofit and you are thinking about moving into tech. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So yeah, so no wonder you will get some inconsistency because I think a lot of this like certificate or whether to get a degree, many times it's very company specific. So some company will have harder lines in terms of what is the candidate's sort of degree or academic achievement before they can consider. And sometimes it's even position specific. So some of the teams they feel like this is a more tech specific so they want they want a candidate to have certain tech background or tech degree background, something like, oh, you probably have a certificate to showcase that. I would say in general there's no such thing as you must have a degree or certificate to proceed exploring program roles in the tech industry. So you can definitely go ahead. But the tricky thing is when you are facing one by one specific positions, then it's a very situational sort of problem to solve. So some of them will want certificates, some of them will want degrees, some of them will say it's nice to have certificate or degree. Um, yeah, then it's very case by case situation. Um, and the second of your question is so if you have a more specific job description or something, I'm happy to take a read and let you know about that. We can work offline on that. Your second question is about the return of investment on my MBA. I can talk a little bit from my personal experience. I would say because I complete the transition while I'm working at Amazon, I don't think the degree is a must have for me to complete that transition. So in Amazon, it is more about you find the right manager who want to sponsor you to complete that transition and give you opportunity to work in that role capacity. So this is kind of agnostic to whether you have the degree. Obviously, you have the degree, then probably it's easier for you to find that kind of manager who can sponsor you. But it's not like there's no causality relationship between the two. But I think from my experience working in the capacity of a product manager, I would say definitely the things that I learned from the MBA program is helpful in terms of my day-to-day working as a product manager. So uh, when you ask me about the return of investment, I would say yes, I might be able to just save that entire investment and still complete my transition from engineer to product manager. But I do feel whatever I learned and the network that I built within that program, like from the UW's MBA program, it is helpful for me in my program manager job. So hope that answer your question.
Yes, thank you so much. And then when you're talking about your transition from engineering to product manager, do you find that both of these two roles require you to have different types of thinking and approaches to the job and the role itself?
Yes, I would say it's very different. So there aren't that many engineers actually transition to product manager, and there's even few from product manager transition to engineer, I would say, because engineer is a highly technical kind of job family. So you do need some very specialized tech expertise to go into that to go into that job family. Uh, while the product manager, it's a much broader role. I would say some of those and like depending on position to position, it might emphasize or require slightly different skill sets. There are some common themes in terms of the product management skill set, like communication, strategic thinking, understanding customer, being empathy, a lot of those. And if you are working on tech products specifically, obviously some basic knowledge of technology and feasibility is a good plus. So the two job families are quite different. I would say. Yeah.
Okay, and my last question, thank you so much for answering all my
No.
questions. My last question is about this the Amazon interview round. So I have some friends who have interviewed at Amazon and did not get through.
Uh-huh.
And I just wanted to ask, like, we hear a lot about how Amazon really prioritizes like the leadership principles, soft skills, and just kind of like uh, the values really that a person brings to a job,
Mm,
like how they work with other people and how they view work and will deliver on like their work ethic.
mm.
Um, is this really what Amazon prioritizes for ahead of the technical skills? Because my friend was very technical. She was very great. She's a PhD as well, and she did not get through. So I was wondering, like, what happened, you know? So I just wanted to just know, based on your experience, is that really what Amazon prioritizes?
Yeah, I would say it's also job family a little bit dependent, but really this is something Amazon prioritize. I would say there are when I because I also interview with other companies, right, from time to time. I would say Amazon is quite different. Like there are generally like two categories of company, and Amazon is the in the type that are very few of the company do this is they focus more on like the quality or personality of their candidate more than the immediate fitness of the candidate to the opening position. But most of the company, they are focusing more on like, oh, is the tech expertise a good fit, right? Is the past experience a good fit? And so it's more like role based, like job opening based sort of assessment. But Amazon is kind of the company that are more, I would say, culture and personality based assessment. So yes, I guess say those leadership principles and kind of whether the candidate is culturally fit, how the candidate works with others and works on problems, like some of those matter sort of qualifications are the things that Amazon pay a lot of attention to. Um, but for engineer role, and if your friend is a PhD, they might be even applying for like a applied scientist or machine learning scientist or whatever, that kind of technical role. Then equally important is the technical expertise. So engineers will go through interviews to do like to solve like coding problems, so on and so forth. And if you are not good at those, obviously, you are also going to fail the interview. So I would say for strong technical roles like engineers and scientists, it's equally important that you have good culture and culture fit, and also you are exceeding the expectation in terms of your technical expertise. And then for the more, especially like program manager and product manager kind of role, the culture fit is like the gemstone. So it's very important. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. All right. What's next? Thank you, Mary. Open for question.
I think some other people who are here might also be college students.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe they might have questions about like creating their pathway from college to the the workforce. How to actually plan that out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, as a college or a fresh graduate or uh, uh, junior or senior college student, actually you have a lot of good opportunity in front of you. So it's quite open in front of you. I would suggest college students to think more about your passion, like really what you like, because to be honest, you have 10 30 10 20 30 years of career ahead of you, right? um, it's it's very hard to say like how the industry will change like in that next 20 30 years. Like the advancement of AI in the past 3 years has kind of surprised a lot of people, and no one really sort of uh, kind of expected that large scale of kind of changes, and such kind of things happen multiple times. Sort of in the tech, there's always like some occasional booming of things, and then there's a next step of technology that move the industry forward towards some other direction. So all of these could impact like how the workforce are composed in the tech industry, right? Where the opportunities goes in terms of geographic locations, so on and so forth. Uh, so it's very hard to like really. It's like doing investment. It's hard to time the market. So you need to have some fundamental principles inside of you, right? That can give you the grit and persistence to keep sort of working in the industry, and you keep learning, sort of keep growing yourself to sort of adapt to the industry, because the tech industry, the one thing that never changed is everything is always changing. So it's very important that you always have such kind of curiosity, and you always sort of uh, like not getting tired of learning new things, right? So how could you have that kind of passion and sort of keep doing things and keep learning and have the grits over like your 10 20 30 years of career, right? You must you must do something that you really like and you really have a passion about. It's something that you're willing to do, right? So I would suggest, like, college students, you are at the best of time of your life. But also, totally understand, like, because it is widely opened, you feel so lost, like which path to go, right? And then many times, as I talk to my mentees, I feel like um, they try to think too much about, like, uh doing it in a, like, a data driven way, or thinking about, oh, compensations, and whether I get, like, good good titles, or things like those. Like, I'm not saying these are not important, but you can't just work for those, for a very long time. You can work for those for probably 3 5 years, but ultimately, you need to the best thing is to work on the things that you really have a passion about. Yeah, so persistence, spirit of a learner, and experimentation. Yeah, thanks for the for the summary. I think these are very important. And if you would like to talk to me, share your resume, share your past experience, I can be a teddy bear, sort of a soundboard of you, help you sort of see through, like, what you're really passionate about, right? Because sometimes when you just think about yourself, you got lost. But you need a teddy bear, or someone who keep asking you questions about why you feel like this is what you want and what you love, right? What about that excites you, right? And then more of those questions being asked to you, like, thrown at you, you peel deeper and deeper into your inner self, right? And you start to get, oh, what am I really passionate about? Yeah, I know it's a kind of a very not very practical answer, but I hope that's helpful. Yeah.
There's two questions in the chat from Tony. One is about the difference between a product manager and a program manager.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say product manager is, you think about it more from, like, a big picture or strategic point of view, right? Although and program manager is more from, like, solving operational kind of problem perspective. Although many of the times I would say these two roles are really blended together and sort of crossed over with each other a lot. And I like, it's very common in my past experience to observe, like, when there's no program manager, the product manager just step in and do whatever the program management kind of work. And sometimes when there's not yet a product manager, very likely the program manager will also kind of step in and do some of the product manager's work, like thinking about roadmap and priority of things, the direction of the product, and even sometimes own, like, a P&L or things like those. So these two roles very often sort of I wouldn't call it step into each other, but, like, sort of um, conflicted with each other depending on the need on the team. So a good summary is, if you think of, like, a tech team working on a tech product, usually the product manager answer the questions about what and why, like, what are we building and why we are building those. The program manager, the engineer team or the tech team answer questions about how. So how are we going to build that? Um, And the program managers are usually answer questions about when and who. So usually that is especially important when there are multiple tech teams, right? That all contributes to one product, one tech product, and the program manager helps clarify who works on which part and when that should happen. So and also program managers many times sort of more focused on managing internal stakeholders, the so-called internal stakeholders. So within this tech product's boundary, and then the product managers are more biased toward managing external stakeholders of this tech product. So I hope this helped clarify a little bit on the roles, the two different roles.
And Amina had a question. Her question is, oh, Amna, what are some transferable skills, both hard and soft, that helped you transition from an engineering role to a product management role?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the hard skills is easier to answer, so I'll tackle that. So especially in the tech industry, and especially when you work on a highly technical product, so the tech skills are like understanding how the technology works, where the sort of the feasibility boundary lines. And sometimes even like a rough understanding of what's the effort to get something built. That's very helpful in terms of both engineering and product roles, and that definitely helps my transition. So these are like the hard technical skills. The soft skills, I think it's communication is the most important. So sometimes people have like misunderstanding or misconception and they think like, oh, okay, product managers and program managers need a lot of communication, but it's not necessarily for engineers. I would say that's a misconception. Actually, it's equally important for engineers to have good communication skills. It's just the content that you communicate is different, right? So when I was an engineer, I communicate more about like, okay, the timeline, whether we are on time, why we are not on time, what is the new challenge, why we didn't foresee this challenge sort of beforehand, and what is our mitigation plan, and so on and so forth, right? So it keeps everyone, especially the product manager and program managers, sort of on track and really know like what's happening. A lot of time I observe like engineers or like bury their head into solving like the deepest and hardest problems in the world, and neglect the communication part, and then yeah, people just sort of get so lost, and yeah, and and there's damage sort of coming out of that. As a product manager, now I start like communicate different things, like, okay, who are our customers, like what are the jobs to be done for our customers, and why we think we build this solution or this feature or this little tiny thing would help our customer, right? And then sort of what are we thinking about prioritizing these 10 bucket of different features, right? And then sometimes even like challenge some stakeholder teams, like why it takes that long for us to achieve this or that, things like those. So again, it's communication. The content or the end goal might slightly different, but the skill stays the same. So I think definitely communication is the number one soft skill. I would say that's transferable across all three different roles. Yeah. Cool.
Catherine has a very interesting question. This is actually something I also noticed about the applications that are happening currently. So, Catherine, I don't know if you want to ask it, but she is somebody with product management experience, less than 2 years, at a startup, and has experience working with engineers. But when she's looking for roles, job applications, they're asking for people with AI engineering experience for generalist roles. And she's wondering if it's something that she should target to learn and upskill in, because she is more concentrated on being more efficient with her time, based on, all of the things that are being asked for in a job application.
I see. Okay. Yes. Well, I will not sort of say like whether AI is a hype or not. I would say definitely I see there are some um based on my because I've been in this industry for over 20 years, I would say, right? So about 10 12 years like working, and then I also have my PhD, and even starting from my bachelor, like my undergrad, I mean, in the tech. So definitely this time, I would say that there is a big step in the AI. So if you have never know about like machine learning and artificial intelligence, I would say this there is no harm. And if you are seriously considering sort of a role, regardless of engineer, product, program in tech industry, I would say this is definitely some topic you want to familiarize yourself with, right? Um, I can hardly imagine someone working in the tech industry yet know nothing about like AI and machine learning. Um, but there are many different levels of expertise that you can go sort of dive deep into this topic. I would say if you are not really targeting on working on a product that is powered by AI, or you're not going to sort of use AI in your day-to-day work, then you can pretty much stop at the surface level of understanding. Just get yourself familiar with like all the terms and concepts. Like there are kind of training materials that you can finish like in 1 2 hour to give you a pretty good comprehensive understanding of this AI, machine learning, and the latest and greatest things in this area. So only 1 2 hour, you get pretty good sort of return of your invested time. But if you do have to like or considering working on like a product that's powered by AI, or have closely related to some artificial intelligence technology, then I would suggest you sort of dive deep in that particular area. So do it from like working backwards, right? From what do you what do you need, and then don't sort of spend your time on everything, because that's not going to work very well. So yeah, if you have a particular job position and the team has a lot to do with AI, and or even a specific sort of machine learning technology or things that team is sort of using or working on or thinking about, then dive deep on that particular area. It's yeah, it is a very very big area. It's never ending. And also, I would say based on the role, right? If you are an engineer, you probably want to dive deeper in like the technical aspect of the technology. But if you are a product or program role, you probably want to dive more into like try to get a broader sense of, okay, what are the type of AI powered products in the market, right? How are they doing? What roughly categories of AI technologies that they are using, so on and so forth. So yeah, my suggestion is get the surface level down, like that 1 2 hour. Definitely, if you haven't done so, I would strongly recommend you do that. But then from there, be like tailor your own needs and spend your time wisely on the things that help you most. Yeah.
Thank you so much. There's three more questions
Okay.
in the chat. One just came in, so I'm gonna just ask it because I think it's the shortest one. Or there's another one. There's 4 questions. Okay, so what are the things they teach you in an MBA that help you with your work as a PM? And then the 2 questions that are next after that are about software engineering, and also with CS transitioning to PM. I think both of those 2 questions can go together. Yes, but
Okay.
this one about the MBA, what did they teach you in the MBA that's useful for working as a PM?
Yeah, I think there are a few that are very helpful to me. First, I think like the econ 101, right? The very basic demand and supply. That's kind of like the help always help you think about like when you build a product. It's not about all those fancy things. It's about which part of demand that you can sort of meet at a price that your customer is willing to pay, right? So it's kind of like the give you a fundamental framework of thinking about any product strategy. Um, so yes, you can also get those outside of MBA. I'm not saying MBA is the only place to get such kind of knowledge, but obviously with the econ professors and all the classmates and in your cohort, I would say MBA is a very effective and efficient way to get such knowledge. Um, the second is the basic kind of accounting thing. Obviously, you're not targeting to be an accountant, so not that detailed things, but it helps you try to. It helps you really capable of like reading 10Ks and building your own P&L for your product, right? Do financial projections, so on and so forth. So accounting and finance basic, like these are very helpful in terms of owning the financial part of your product. The third thing is marketing. So there are a lot of good kind of marketing thinking and strategy and cases because sometimes like especially when a product is more mature, you will have like marketing managers who are like a more dedicated person to manage that aspect, but when the product is relatively new or have sort of a narrow channel. Many times, the product manager is also sort of someone who need to think about like the marketing strategies and or working with the marketing function of the team to think about your product's marketing strategy. So that part is definitely also good. Then I would say there are a bunch of like uh, the good thing about university is they have a lot for you. It's a la carte, right? A lot for you to choose from. So I have my concentration was global business and entrepreneur. So there has been a lot of like how to do the pitches and all of these that feels really helpful to me, and not only in my kind of Amazon day job of product manager, but also my kind of outside of Amazon, like working with other entrepreneurs and thinking about product strategies. I think these are super helpful. Um, Again, I would say there are a lot of kind of good uh, tips on way of thinking things from the macro economy class. So the supply demand is like the micro econ, right? But the macro is more about okay, what's the global economy trend right now, right? And how are you thinking about starting something like under current situation, so on and so forth. And also I think that becomes a consistent like I start to sort of pay more attention to a lot of these, and it's the influence sort of exceeded outside of the program itself, right? So I subscribe to many of the macro econ kind of podcasts and sort of thought leadership blog posts and so on and so forth. And I feel like these are consistently helping me sort of shaping my ways of thinking as a product manager. So these are kind of, I would call those like hard skills or hard learnings from the MBA program. And then there are a lot of soft learnings as well, right? Because in the MBA program you have a lot of chance, not a lot of chance, you are forced to work in groups and with your classmates in the same cohort, and then do case competitions, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of like collaboration under time pressure, communications, working remotely and in person and in a mix, so on and so forth. So a lot of learning of how to work effectively, sort of under these situations. These are like the soft skills you learn, and also you build a network of folks with sort of similar career stage as you, and but with different background and coming from different industries. So that's kind of the intangible asset or the soft asset that you get from an MBA program. Yeah.
Okay, so the other questions I think are more geared to what your background is. So there are questions regarding two questions with people who have a CS masters and also over 2 years working as software engineering. They want to pivot into a PM role. One question is about what resources and projects you would recommend for that career transition specifically. And then the other question is, would you recommend certifications or just concentrating on entering tech and concentrating on the tech role? Those two, I think, go together. And then the last one is just a little bit different. So I'm going to ask it after you answer.
Thank you, Mary. Not you essentially become the moderator of this session. Yeah, let me answer that. I yeah, I think yeah, it will be great if folks, you can just jump in and ask your question. Yeah, let me tell you about my experience first, and then you could probably better understand what I suggest. So I've been very deep in tech for many years. So I'm super passionate about coding since high school. So I'm in the sort of the programmers club, and we code using Visual Basic. I'm not so sure if there's a generation gap here that folks don't even know that programming language. And so I majored in software engineer. Yeah, no, Mary is not the moderator. Yeah, so folks, please, 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 yeah, ask your own question. But yeah, let me come back. So yeah, I majored in software engineer and computer science in my undergraduate, and then I continue to my PhD. But at that time, I already started to feel like the tech is not the only piece that matters in the solution. So my PhD is actually focusing on the kind of a joint field of computer science and human psychology. So you can see, like, I start to have more thinking, right, as I'm sort of dedicatedly working in this area, and I feel like I'm missing something else. I would like to learn something else. So that's my PhD. So my research is actually on the programmer's behavior. So how kind of a programmer think about a multi-thread parallel program and writing the code and debugging that kind of program. So I research a lot on like, okay, Java monitor, async, like agent and event exchange sort of framework. And also there's something called coroutine in early days of Python. Again, not sure whether there's a generation gap here. But that's kind of my PhD research. And then really like during the time of my PhD, I start to realize the most exciting things, like the most breakthroughs actually happen in the industry, in this tech world or computer science so-called word, right? So that makes me sort of steer myself away from try to chase a sort of tenure professor kind of track in the academia and come back to industry after a PhD. And then I worked at Microsoft for 6-7 years as an engineer. So worked on a lot of systems. I'm one of the co founding member of Azure Blockchain Service. I worked on building like large scale monitoring system for Azure Data Center when Azure was a distant number two comparing to AWS back then. And Azure was trying to build out the data center and catch up. And the very beginning, I also worked on like virtual machine management systems. So you see, I did a lot of those big backend systems and solve complex technical problems. But uh, I think the building the blockchain system is one of the culminating point, because blockchain is such a typical sort of technology ahead of use case or application kind of situation, right, or scenario. So it starts to make me question more on like why we are doing so, right? And I start to see like actually throughout my tech career, I'm the kind of the outlier in the engineering team, who ask a lot of the what and why question, like what exactly do we want to build, right? And why we build this? What problem the customer want to solve? And if that is the problem, why we build this, not that, right? So I ask a lot of those questions. Um, so that becomes like the second push for me to steer my career away from engineer to product management. Obviously, that requires some planning. Uh, I really want to do like the serious product management, not just like managing a project kind of a perspective saying, because that's something I'm already doing as as an engineer, like from time to time. But Microsoft is a company that's quite tech driven, I would say, and it's not that much like product and business driven from time to time. So it's actually very hard to find a real product manager kind of position at Microsoft. So that's also partly why I moved to Amazon. First is they do have a lot of they are more sort of business and product driven process, and they're much more they have much better kind of role delineation between like product manager and program manager. So I can be very specific, say I want to do this part of the job. Um, but it's hard for me to like change the company and also sort of shift the track, right? So I went to Amazon as a software engineer. Meanwhile, I start the MBA, just try to catch up a lot on like the hard skill and fundamental soft skill of being a product manager, and also seeking for a direct manager who can sponsor me too. complete this transition. So I would say a lot of the time, I kind of characterize or summarize my own sort of journey as a follow my heart journey. Uh, so that's how I kind of give the suggestion, or my recipe is to follow your heart, right? Because that's really something like it's not easy to like do a full-time job at Amazon as engineer while starting at an MBA program like as part-time. It's very demanding. Like if you don't have the passion to really do, like it's very hard for you to like just get it down, sort of, or get it down in a good way. So I think like I would ask I would ask you to ask yourself, like, okay, you have a you completed a 2-year master of computer science, all right? Do you enjoy coding? And you also worked as a software engineer for 2 years. Do you enjoy coding? Which part of it you don't like? You don't like. Which part of it you do like? Right? Be honest to yourself. You don't need to tell anyone. You can just tell yourself. And then when you think about being a product manager, like what's the motivation, right? What do you think the product manager role could bring you? And it's not true. Like then you can talk to some product managers, right? And validate your own thinking. Like is that really something you could get, right? And also ask yourself, like, what part of the product manager role that you don't know yet, and that might surprise you, or it might be something that you don't want to have, right? And then again, talk to someone and validate your thinking and see, is that something you can really tolerate or accept as a side effect of for the things that you really want, or like it's probably not like what you think, right? So yeah, again, follow your heart, but the way is to like really ask yourself a lot of questions, like what do you think you like and don't like, and why you think so, and is that like stay true to yourself. um, I'm not sure whether folks on this call know, but usually in the tech industry, like it, uh, like in the big companies, because there are like a set compensation range, right, for each tier of or each level of engineers and product and program manager. So usually the engineer, like in the same level, the engineer has the highest sort of maximal uh, as to that band. So the bands overlap, but the engineer has a slightly higher or like top possibility. So if your what you are looking for is just like good compensation, then probably you don't want to go to the product or program role, right? Yeah, again, you don't need to tell anyone. It's not a confession. You just need to be honest to yourself, and that's the I think that's the good way of thinking, like whether you really want to go there, and if you are sort of sure that yes, this is what I'm really passionate about, then you start to pave your road out, like thinking about, oh, am I going to get an MBA or do something else, so on and so forth. Yeah. All right, and I will read a question.
Question I pulled out was about the somebody who's actually working as a software engineer. He just wanted, or I think he just wanted to know about combining a technical role and a management role. So I
Mm,
think that will cap off exactly what you were saying, because that I think that person wants to keep a foot in the technical but move towards the management. How they can do that? Yeah.
yeah, I think there are another, right. If you are already an engineer, you like when you grow, like obviously when you're junior, you just keep doing your work and you become more and more senior in terms of your engineer role. Then you probably have a decision to make, like whether you want to step into like a engineer manager role, or you want to stay in the IC track and become like principal, senior principal, and so on and so forth. My observation and experience in the industry is that essentially when regardless of whether you stay in the individual contributor role or you start to become like a manager and start managing larger and larger scope of teams, the soft skills are becoming more and more important in your career. So it's not like if you are not doing the management work, you can skip some of the soft skills. Like either way, you need to grow much faster in terms of your soft skill. But if you stay in the individual contributor role, most of the time you need to like really be curious and passionate about the latest technology. You should be the first one of your team that sort of start play with those things and start to get to know these things and start to think about how these might apply to your business. To your group's business and so on and so forth. And then for if you are going to step up as a manager, then it's more about how you work with your team, how you get the teams work with each other, how you set up the culture, so on and so forth. So these kind of thinkings become more important. Yeah, hope that helped. All right.
Gloria's question is the last question. Yeah, I think Gloria is on here, so if she wants to ask the question.
Hiring process was like, how your resume was tailored. Did you apply directly on the company website or reach out to a manager first? What kind of questions we are asking the recruiting process, advice for people currently looking for jobs in Amazon? Yeah, I would say Amazon jobs, go to Amazon jobs. Those are real jobs there. So yes, I would recommend directly apply there. And I think Mary shared a good official website, interviewing at Amazon, which talks a lot about the recruiting process. Usually at a high level, once you applied, it will your application will be routed to a recruiter, and the recruiter will be the front line to gate whether they are going to sort of announce you to next round or not. Depending on the position and the role, usually it will include an online assessment, especially if it's a tech role. And then a phone screen and 4 to 5 round of interviews. That's what we call the loop, where you're going to answer behavioral questions. And if it's a tech role, you are also going to answer technical questions. Like if it's engineer role, you're going to answer coding questions and algorithm, data structure, so on and so forth, system design, depending on the level. And then basically after that, there's a debrief inside of Amazon. So all the interviewers in the loop, so that 4 or 5 people will gather together with the recruiter. They will discuss and then make a decision in that meeting. And then based on the decision, the recruiter will get back to you. So that's the general process. And then obviously, depending on the level and the role, there are slight variations on what are the agendas and contents in those loops and phone screens. So that's something you need to work on it case by case. Yeah. Gloria, does that answer your question? All right.
I just wanted to thank you so much for spending the hour and just giving us your time and these amazing answers. They're very
Thanks.
honest. Thank you, appreciate you. And they have like a lot of tips in them too. So you're not just leading us off like a blind path. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being open with your experience.
Yeah, no problem. I hope this is helpful. And yeah, you can scan the QR code to find my Leland profile. And if you have more personalized questions or you need some other support, I'm totally happy to support you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There's a question that was mentioned. I don't know if I skipped over this because the people who were asking, they had more of a tech experience. But Tony is asked, can someone with no tech background become a PM?
Yes, you can. And to be honest, there are like if you look at the PMs in the tech industry, they all coming from different backgrounds. But it is you need to be strategic about thinking about like which product you want to work on, like when you first get into the tech industry, right? So I can give an example. So Amazon has so many different products, right? There are AWS services, there's this .com kind of e-commerce website, and then there's also like Alexas and Echo and device and so on and so forth. And recently there's also the satellite communication and all of those. So if you have no tech background, then you probably want to start with a less technical product. So probably you start from like the e-commerce business and be a PM there. That can give you a good balance, sort of doing PM work yet not need to rely on much of knowing like all the technical detail of things, and then you can gradually learn in the job about um, some of the tech backgrounds and things, and also you can try to do more training and catching up on a little bit more. And if you are really interested, you can gradually move to more technical products over the time. So again, this is just an example, and the short answer is absolutely yes. You just need to be a little bit strategic on how you plan out your PM sort of career in the tech industry. Yeah. All right. Cool. I think we are at time, and I will stop here. And thank you all for joining this event. Hopefully, this is helpful to all of you. Yep. Right. Bye bye.
Thank you.